আপনারা দেখছেন ILFL Soccer Night.
Welcome back. It's the second segment of the ILFL Soccer Night show. Good evening to you. There was league football that took place yesterday. Not many games, but they all have their significance. So let's take a look at them. In the Premier Division, sponsored by Sarwar & Co, there was only one game, and that was the game between Ireland and Sire, which ended up as a 3-all draw. Some of you may say, what's the significance of that? Well, the significance is that Sire managed to get their first point on the board. It's been long, it's been hard, but there they are with their first point on the board down at the bottom. Ireland not much further ahead of them, and still all to play for to see who are the two who are going to drop out of that one. Maybe if Ireland get another win, they will mathematically keep themselves within the Premier Division. And then there's everybody else. Leytonstone are a team who are down there. Like you said, you've heard from the boys earlier. They say they've got enough to get out of it. We'll keep our eye on that one. On the First Division, two games. Bromley Juniors and Stepney B drew 0-0. And SCTA just went on their merry way and did what they do, smashing 8 past Weavers, and that leaves the table looking like this with SCTA, like we said, we've been saying it for weeks, champions elect. They are 4 points clear of reach out, only 3 games to go, and unless they slip, trip and fall right over on their heads, it looks like it's going to be theirs for the taking. And reach out, bar any slip-ups themselves, will also join SCTA in the Premier Division. Down into the Second Division. Riverside beat Al Mizan by 4-2. That's probably a credible result for Al Mizan. Similar result again for Riverside, 4-2 against St Catherine's week before, I think that was, and 4-2 here against Al Mizan. St Catherine's under 21 themselves, back to normal, their normal consistency, losing by 9-2 against West End Reserve. And what's the significance for that? It is that St Catherine's under 21 have now broken the century mark for goals conceded in a season. 101 goals and counting, because as Hatsnap has just reminded me, their game next week is against
Robin Hood Tigers.
Robin Hood Tigers. Good luck, St Catherine's. Boys, listen, we've just seen the table, and I'm going to put it back up here again for everyone to see. I asked you the question, and you know, you answered it diplomatically. Yeah, we're going to get out of it. But now you look at it, you can see it's only between 3 teams, or maybe between 2, just yourselves. Ireland Leinster, you've got a game in hand against them. Confident?
Yeah, I think the next game's against Sire. I think we should definitely win that. Brings us back level with Ireland, and then we've got Sire again to play as well.
You've got Sire twice?
Yeah.
Ooh,
so
it's looking like points in the bag. You're looking very confident, Mr. Goal Scorer over there. What do you think?
Confident.
Is it something that the team talks about? Is it something that you talk about? Have you looked at your league form and tried to address it, or are you just concentrating on how you play football and taking it game by game?
Yeah, I think we take it game by game, but we know when we get into the game, you know, we got a quality team and good players. So we know we're going to help each other, we're going to get out of it. Without that, we're going to get out of it.
Cameron, as you spoke earlier about, and you said this thing with Bo, in fact, about their league form and how, you know, they've got 1 form in the Cup, 1 form in the league. We've got Ireland, Leytonstone and Sire battling it out. We don't know who's going to stay up. But SETA and Reach Out look like the 2 teams to come up. We said it last season about the strength of the Prem. Next season, let's hear your views on what kind of a Premier Division we could have.
Well, I mean, it does look ominous that those 2 teams will progress on, barring any calamities or disasters. So, and you know, the Premiership this year is very exciting as it is, because no one's running away with it as things stand. Any top 4 teams can take it, and I think with the addition of a CTA and Reach Out, it will be probably the most strongest Premiership we've had in a long time, years really.
Indeed. Hasnat, you've been watching things and been almost as much of a statsman as Nanu has been in the vets. You've been a big statsman. Let's talk about Leytonstone. Let's talk about SCTA and Reach Out coming out. If they were playing in the same division now, How would you see things going, let's say a Leytonstone against an SCTA or a Leytonstone against a Reach Out?
Well, if we break it down further and say the Leytonstone Cup team playing any of those teams, by all means we've got a show on. But I mean, and I'm going to really sorry guys, but I have to criticise your early season form. But that early season form really hammered it for them, and it was the same for Sire, same for Ireland. I mean, Ireland have managed to somehow crawl away, but looking at it, it is in in Leytonstone's hands. They can, with playing 2 games against Sire, they are the ones that can escape out of that bottom 3. But yeah, I mean, when we're talking about the 2 teams coming up, we are looking at some phenomenal football. And as long as none of these teams change their squads and stay as it is, we're looking at very strong. And I hope Leytonstone, not because you guys are here, but I hope you guys do actually stay in the Prem, and that cup form of yours is carried forward to next season, because then then you can call any 8 teams to win that Premiership next year. But I mean, it's disappointing that we had that sort of blip at the start with the team. So yeah, it's looking very, very strong.
Just coming back to SCTA, Dave, it wasn't always like this. It wasn't that easy. As you remember last year, we struggled.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, we struggled because, as a saying, success breeds success. So obviously, because we're winning now, because there's new players coming in, there's competition, everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon, which is a good thing, really. But as soon as the tough gets going, people start jumping out of the ship, and away you go. So, and the same story with Bow. They never had it easy as well. They've obviously improved, got new players in. They're having a great form in the cup, and I'm sure that cup glory they can then emulate back into the league. And then hopefully, if they don't get promoted this year, next year, that should be their challenge, really.
It's true, they are 3rd in the league, but behind 2 very good teams. I think that's what happened with SCTA season before. So, Bo, like we said, you've heard, maybe if not this season, then it will be next. Let's look at your fixtures for next week in the league. As the boys to my left just said, they've got a game in the Premier Division against Sire, and they'll be looking forward to that one and probably their next one. I should probably just point out that Sire have conceded less goals than Leytonstone in the league, so maybe if they can take that defensive form into it, they can make a game of it. Who knows? Stepney take on Bromley, and after an impressive win against the Tigers a couple of weeks ago, they will want to maintain a winning form and keep up the pressure on the top. They don't want Tigers to run away with that, with West End snapping at their heels. In the First Division, there are 3 games. Reach Out take on Bow, and again, we talk about cup form going into league games. If Bow can take some kind of a game to Reach Out now, who knows, even a point would throw a spanner in the works right there at the top. The best of the rest in that division is Weavers versus Burdett, and St Catherine's take on SCTA. Another potential banana skin, but like I said, SCTA's form may be too strong for St Catherine's. And in the second division, there it is, that tech game right at the top there. St Catherine's under 21 against Robin Hood Tigers. Beaumont Youth, who have had a great season, just fell out of the cup, but they still have their league form to look on and look to be champions there. They're up against Tower Hamlets B as they chase Robin Hood Tigers, and the West End reserve team take on Redcoat. Hasnat, just very quickly, Robin Hood Tigers and Beaumont Youth, hopefully, we hope that now, we keep speaking every week when Rash is here about how Beaumont Youth had a great season. Let's just hope it doesn't fall apart now that they've gone out of the cup. We don't want them to get a little bit depressed now and a bit deflated, and now they lose their form in the league, because it's a good little chase they've got going on with Robin Hood Tigers. No,
you're absolutely right. That's the fear. I mean, they know it's going to be very difficult for them to catch Robin Hood Tigers, because Robin Hood Tigers followed 2 games against the bottom 2 teams, and I think that's where they were looking forward to the cup. So they were devastated yesterday when they got knocked out on penalties. I mean, what was it? A total of 18 penalties taken, finished 8-7. It's just, we've even got pictures of Rash up on Facebook with, absolutely in bits. I've never seen a grown man of his age cry anyway. So, yeah, I mean, that's the fear I have now. I hope that depression doesn't kick in and they suddenly slip away, because I mean, Robin Hood will be throwing it away if they lost this. So Beaumont have just got to make sure that they cement that second place and they keep Redcoat away from them. So yeah, I do feel for them. I really do. As much as being Robin Hood's manager, I feel for Beaumont. I'd really wish they had the league, because to say a second division team in the League Cup semi-final, you would have expected them to be top of their division, but they're not. So it's really sad for Beaumont that they're actually going to finish the season empty-handed.
Let's see what happens with 4 other teams who are looking not to go away from this season empty-handed, and these are the 4 teams in the Interleague Champions Cup. Another set of semi-finals coming up this week. Here they are on your screen. It's FC Bartlett against the champions themselves, London Meteors. And then we've got the boys from Milton Keynes, MK Galacticos, coming down to take on the Gower All-Stars. And two cracking games we're looking forward to there, Cameras.
I think if anybody wants to see some good quality football, they need to turn out for these games, because you've got champions from their respective divisions there. FC Bartlett won their league last year. London Meteors, obviously the current champions. Galacticos are coming with a combined squad. Gower All-Stars are flying in their own league. So, you know, it's there for anyone who wants it, really. And the cup games, the beauty of cup games is it doesn't matter what league form and what you've won before. It's on the day. It's the passion. It's, you know, look at Bradford in the cup. So really, it's whoever wants it more on the day and whoever can show more hunger. It's theirs, really.
Couple of great games, Hasnat. You're looking to make a prediction, even though your prediction are not going well this season. So put somebody out there, Misery, and put the markers on them. Go on.
I think this time round, I'm not going to give up on the stats, so I have to continue predicting the stats. So the four teams, first of all, I'd like to say the four teams that are there out of the 16, they were the strongest four. No denying that. I'm going to go, well, statistically, I'm going for MK Galacticos to knock out Gower All-Stars, simply because that's the combined team of the Midlands. And from the top one, you just have to go with the current champions, London Meteors, because in the very first two rounds, you saw them absolutely blistering it, and sort of disrespectfully at the end, going so many goals up, they started to play around and showboat, so you know they've got it. And I think the People's Final was probably Galacticos versus London Meteors, but the cup's the cup.
The cup's the cup, and there are two other teams there who really want to take something away from them. We've come to the end of the second section of the show. Gentlemen, I just want to say thanks very much for making the effort to come down and show your faces. Great goal. Like I said, I'll say it again, and I know you're looking forward to seeing that again. Good luck to Leytonstone with your future. We'll keep an eye on your league form and you in the cup, and I hope the club continues to go from strength to strength. We're out of time in the second section of the show. In the third section, as always, it's all about the ILFL and Shenali Otith Veterans League. Stick around, we'll be right back for that.
আপনারা দেখছেন ILFL Soccer Night.